Hey everyone! Today I'm going to show you how to make the bathroom item you never knew you needed. If you have a facial cleansing brush with interchangeable heads, you know they're hard to dry out. So I created a drying rack that gives you access to all of your heads and allows them to dry properly, helping to minimize bacteria growth. So stick around because we're going to DIY instead of buy. And if you'd take a second to subscribe to my channel, I'd really appreciate it. Now I designed this around the Pixnar 7-in-1 model. I wasn't able to find that on Amazon anymore, but I did find a very similar set at a really good price, so I will link that in the description box below. It came with all of the same heads, and as you can see here, they are great quality. So here's what you're gonna need. Some of these metallic beads from Dollar Tree's Crafter Square, or any type of similar flat disc bead. The main thing is the bead has to be able to fit into the adapter hole of the brush head, as you can see here. And you're going to need 7 of those beads, or however many heads you have. You're also going to need a soap dish. This is the kind that has the suction cups on the back, and I got it at Dollar Tree as well. And you'll just want to double check that the handle fits into that soap dish. Also from Dollar Tree is this 8x10 acrylic photo frame. This is the type that stands up on its own. And you're going to want to keep the insert paper to use as a template. Those are the 3 main items you're going to need for the project. The rest of the things you probably already have at home, like scrap foam and toothpicks, nail polish, rubbing alcohol, and sandpaper or a nail file. Things like that. I'm taking this little nail buffer. I get them in a huge pack on Amazon. They work great for nails, but they come in handy for stuff like this too. And you're just going to take your metallic bead and we're going to sand off all of the metallic sheen to it, right down to the white plastic. And you're going to do that on both flat sides and around the edge. We're just prepping it, getting it ready to paint the color of our choice. From there, you're going to stick it on a really skinny toothpick or a wire. And then we'll take some rubbing alcohol to clean the dust off of the bead. Once they're dust free, stick your toothpicks into your foam because we're going to get ready to paint. I'm going to use nail polish. This is Maybelline Color Show Holographic in bold gold number 45. And I just applied a couple of thin coats to each bead. I decided I wanted to make these stronger, so I'm going to apply a clear gel top coat to them. Now I'm going to botch this name, but I'm using the Haranada top coat. This was advertised to be like tempered glass once it was cured. I can tell you that was not the case on my fingernails, but we'll see about the beads. Now I really globbed this on, and in hindsight I wish I wouldn't have, and you'll see why in a second. So after multiple curings and testing to see if they've hardened up yet, I'm gonna make you wait for the result because I have a quick question for you. What is your favorite facial cleanser? My current favorite is the CeraVe Hydrating Cream to Foam Cleanser. I love the way it breaks through my makeup and it leaves my skin feeling really soft. But I know there's always newer and greater products coming out. So leave me a comment and let me know what your favorite face cleanser is and why. Shall we see how that gel top coat came out? So I'm using rubbing alcohol, trying to get the sticky layer off of this, and it just keeps producing more and more sticky. So I take the bead off of the toothpick and find this huge stalactite hanging off of it. So I'm trying to clip it off and file it down, but it's still oozing the gel. It was a mess. Finally, I just decided to accept it and moved on to a different part of the project. So, remember how I said to hold on to that paper insert? Here's why. You're going to turn it over to the back side, and we're going to lay out our soap dish and all of the heads into the position we want them on the acrylic frame. Once you have your positioning figured out, you're going to take a pencil and you're going to mark the spots on the paper. And I just want to take a moment to point out to all of my 80s and 90s kids, that is an authentic Yikes pencil from 3rd grade. I'm a hoarder, what can I say? Thumbs up for Yikes! So I put the paper back into the frame with the template facing out, and then I had myself a little ASMR moment removing the protective film. Oh, that's nice. Leave a comment if you know who that was supposed to be an impression of. Now I'm using UV resin for this part, but you could use E6000 or super glue. I just personally like the hold of the resin. I just put a little dot on the back of the bead and put it over our marking on the template. And if you are using a glue that is really liquidy, you're going to want to prop up your frame so that it's laying flat and then your bead doesn't slide down. And this part is completely optional, but I took a little bit of resin and put it over the top of the bead and let it drip down the sides a little bit, just because I wasn't happy with how the gel top coat went on these. So I thought this will give it a little bit more protection, like a sealant, since we're going to be putting wet items on it. And then of course I had to let it cure, and I did go over it a few more times with the LED light just to make sure everything was nice and solid. And once again removing the sticky layer with rubbing alcohol, and I also went over the soap dish and the rest of the acrylic frame with the alcohol just to clean everything up, make sure there was no fingerprints or oils. So I'm attaching the soap dish and then checking to see if it balances once the handle is put in there, and not so much. So I thought, okay, we're bottom heavy, so maybe if I put the heads on the upper half of it, it'll balance the weight out. And it did appear to be working at the time. There will be a change to come soon on that. Time to fancy this thing up. So I have the silver reflective paper, and I also had it in gold, and I thought I was going to really like the gold color with it since I went with gold beads, but this paper had a real yellowy tint to it. So when I saw the silver and gold next to each other, it was like, which one? I chose the silver. I thought it looked nicer. But then I found this mint green paper with polka dots in my stash, and it was really catching my eye, and I had to go with it when I saw it next to the silver paper. So polka dots it is. I cut that paper down to the 8x10 size. Simple enough, and just slip it right in the frame. And I did notice that it was see-through because it was a double-sided paper and I could see the image from the other side coming through. So I ended up using that original paper insert from the frame and put it behind there just to make it a more solid background. I still wasn't happy with how tippy this frame was, so I decided I was going to weight down the back of it, and I used those flat back glass pieces that you can get at the Dollar Tree. I attached them with the UV resin, but you can use any glue of your choosing. So let's see what the final product looked like.